Relaxing only solves burnout temporarily. If you don't fix the root cause, you're going to stay stuck in the cycle. You relax, you feel better, then you feel like shit again. You feel numb and emotionless. Your brain and body feel heavy, and you have zero motivation to do anything. So, I want to show you how to escape this business burnout cycle in 3 steps. But before we get started, I want to quickly introduce myself. My name is Trevor, and I help scaling entrepreneurs turn health into their unfair advantage without becoming a full time biohacker so they can perform better, feel better, and ultimately scale their business faster. All right, let's dive right in. So, firstly, what is burnout? Burnout is not you being lazy. It's your nervous system shutting down. I hate it when people are like, oh, you're burnt out. That's just mental. Just push past it. No, at a certain point, if you get into burnout, your nervous system is shutting down. That is why you feel terrible and don't want to do anything. It is your third nervous system state that no one talks about. You've heard of the fight or flight mode, the survival mode. You have also heard of the rest and digest mode, recovery mode, but you probably haven't heard of shutdown mode, where your body essentially gives up. You feel numb, emotionless, and have zero motivation to do anything. You're physically heavy, brain is foggy, and you have the urge to hide or disappear. Your body has given up. It can no longer fight or run from the threat, so it shuts down to protect you. Your body has spent so much time trying to run away or fight from the threat. It's like, we can't do this. We're going to lose. So it shuts down in order to conserve energy and hope and pray that this threat just goes away and we survive. It is a built-in mechanism into our body. Okay, so what causes burnout? And the underlying cause is spending too much time in survival mode. And what happens here is you start in this rest and digest mode, the recovery mode. This is where you do your best work, you feel your best. This is where you're resting and recovering for your body. But when you need to, you will switch into the survival mode, the fight or flight mode, to take care of your threat or do some work. And that's all great. But if you spend too much time in this mode, then you go into this shutdown mode. Your body gives up and it's like, okay, we're going to sit here. We're not going to do anything. We're going to try to conserve energy and survive. And the point I'm trying to get at here is you're never going to go from this recovery mode into shutdown mode. You have to spend enough time in survival mode for your body to trigger that shutdown mode. So the real question is it isn't what's causing you to be in shutdown mode. It's what's keeping you stuck in survival mode. And the first reason could be that you are neglecting your recovery. You have shitty sleep. You have a bad diet. You have too much stress, and this is keeping you stuck in that survival mode. Another cause could be your work demand exceeds your reward. For example, let's say you're working 14 hours a day or something crazy, 6 to 7 days a week. You have no time for anything, and you're only making 5K a month, 10K a month. You're probably not getting the reward you deserve for the work you're putting in. And this can be both financial, like I just said, and social recognition. So if you're working these 14-hour days, working really hard, spending all this time on client projects, and your clients are just like, it's pretty good. They're not giving you an insane amount of praise. That can also contribute to burnout. Same if your family and friends see you working hard and they're just like, who cares? He's just doing his thing. They're not giving you that positive affirmation, then you're also susceptible to burnout, which is pretty crazy. And that is what the studies have shown. In fact, the studies have shown that the social recognition factor can be more important than the lack of financial compensation. Next, you have no control. Instead of controlling your business, it controls you. You have no time to take a vacation or work when you want because you are the main operation of your business and you don't have a team in place. You might be controlled by your business and have to work these crazy hours, and that can contribute to burnout. You're surrounded by people who drain you. This can be in the sense where you have toxic clients that you are working with and they drain you of their energy. They're always asking questions. They're always nagging you. That can be a really bad issue that is causing your burnout and draining your energy. The same thing can be true if you have toxic people who are your family or friends. That can also drain your energy and contribute to burnout. What can also happen is your values can change. The work you once loved feels meaningless now. You could be running a marketing agency, but now you feel like, this isn't it anymore. I'm sick of running this shit. I'd rather start a tech startup. And the tricky thing with this is It can be a cause of burnout. Your values can change, your beliefs can change, but it also can be a symptom. It can be a symptom that you have zero motivation, you feel numb and emotionless, and you're just trying to switch from the marketing business to a tech startup just to feel something again. So you really have to think this through before you make any crazy decisions. But I want to emphasize this point that it's usually not a single cause, but a combination of these factors. It could be the fact that you get poor sleep and you're also working 14 hours a day and you also have no control of the business and you're also dealing with toxic clients. These all can contribute to burnout. And the more causes you have, the more likely you are going to experience burnout. Okay, so how do we escape the burnout cycle? The first phase is release. You need to release the stress that's keeping you burnt out. When you get stressed, your body holds on to that stress. It doesn't just go away on its own. You have to complete the stress cycle in order to release that stress. Back when we were cavemen, we had the same exact stress response as we do today. And what would happen is if we're getting chased by a lion, we activate that stress response, we deploy energy to our body, and we run away. We run away to try to survive. And once we get away from the lion, our body switches out of that survival mode, out of that stress response, and goes back into recovery mode because it knows that we are safe now. It has been signaled that we are safe because we have just used up all that energy and we're also with our loved ones. This all signals that, okay, we're safe, no longer need to be in that survival mode, no longer need to be stressed. But what happens today? We have a big client project or something is wrong with the family and we get stressed out. And instead of doing anything, we sit there, we sit in our head or we type on our keyboard. We don't actually mobilize that energy. We don't actually get the stress out of our body. And there's a couple ways to signal to your body that the stress cycle is complete. So firstly is movement, deploying that energy that your body has given you, exercising, doing some cardio, lifting some weights. This is all great ways to complete the stress cycle. You can also listen to music, any sort of creative output. So if you are going to go read or you want to do a puzzle or work on creating music, whatever your creative hobby is, that is going to help you complete the stress cycle. What you can also do is spend time with people you love, spend time with your family, your friends. This is also going to signal to your nervous system and get you out of that survival mode and back into recovery mode. The second part to release is removing the chronic stressors that are keeping you stuck in this burnout cycle. Think back to the 6 causes of burnout and assess which ones are driving yours. Is it the fact that you're not recovering enough? You have a lack of reward for all the work you're doing, either social recognition or financial reward. Do you have a lack of control over your business? Are you dealing with toxic people daily? Or have your beliefs and values changed and you just need to switch what you're doing? Whatever it is, make the change. If it's a big change, like you need to move across the country, or you need to fire a couple clients that are draining your energy, or even if it's a small change and you just need to get an extra hour of sleep, make the fucking change, or else you're never going to escape this burnout cycle. You're going to continue to work really hard for a couple months and then get absolutely drained and just be useless for months on end, and you don't want to be stuck in that cycle. That is a recipe for disaster. That is a recipe for your business to go down. The next step is phase 2, which is rebuild. You've released the stressors. Now it's time to rebuild your energy and motivation. Your body is depleted of the motivation molecule dopamine. You need to refill the dopamine pool. And to do this, there's a couple strategies I want you to follow. Firstly, avoid stacking dopamine-inducing activities on top of each other. When you do something like eat and look at your phone, you are getting dopamine from the eating and dopamine from looking at your phone. And this is causing your body to release more dopamine and it's depleting it of its pools. Instead, what you should do is just eat or just look at your phone. Don't do both together. Same if you are doing some work. Don't have an energy drink and listen to music. Either just do the work or have an energy drink and do the work, or listen to music and do the work. Don't keep stacking these dopamine-inducing activities on top of each other, or you're just going to drain your pool faster. Second, get dopamine from the activity itself, not the reward before or after. Don't go on a hard run solely for the nice dinner after. Go on a hard run because you enjoy pushing your body to the limit and you get dopamine from that. Don't do the work solely for money. Do the work because you love the fucking grind and you get dopamine from that. And I'm sure a lot of you are already love the grind. You're just burnt out right now. So this might not be a huge factor for you, but the more places you can implement the mentality of I get dopamine from doing the hard work, the better your motivation and energy is going to be. And this is going to help you build back up that motivation and energy. Next, randomize your dopamine. Don't always reward yourself. If you have to always listen to music when you go on a walk, try to not listen to music when you go on a walk a couple times a week. And what this is going to do is it's going to resensitize your dopamine receptors, and it's also going to give you a bigger spike in dopamine when you do go on a walk and listen to music. And this can be a super helpful tool in the sense that on those days where you really don't want to go on a walk or you really don't want to work out, you can use one of these dopamine stacking activities like an energy drink or music to get you motivated again to do that activity when you don't want to. And that is the power of randomizing. If you're always listening to music when you go on a walk, then that becomes the baseline. You need music or else you can't go on the walk. Versus if a couple times a week you just go on a walk without music, then when you really don't want to go on a walk, you can use music to motivate you. Or when you really don't want to work out, you can use music to motivate you. And this can be such a useful tool. The second part of phase 2 is to slowly climb the ladder again. Remember that ladder we talked about with the nervous system state where you start in recovery mode, then you go to survival mode, then you go to shutdown mode? Well, you have to climb the ladder up again. First, you have to go from shutdown mode to survival mode, and then survival mode to recovery mode. So our goal here is to wake up the nervous system gradually again. Do an hour of deep work or do a light upper body workout. Do some things that slowly get you back into your routine, but do not rush this process. Take your time, because if you rush this process, you push too hard, you're going to go back from survival mode into shutdown mode, and you're going to repeat this process and continue to stay stuck. And I have been there. I know you have probably been there. It is not a fun process. So take your time with this and gradually work your way up and listen to your body. Next phase is to redefine. It's time to redefine you. We're not changing genders here, but you do need to change in order to avoid burnout. You need to eliminate those causes that were previously keeping you stuck in that burnout cycle. You need to reflect on your identity, your purpose, and who you want to be. Are you going to continue running this business, or are you going to go and start a e-com brand? Are you going to continue grinding 12 hours a day, or are you going to work less for less money, but more time, more energy, spending more time with loved ones and doing the hobbies you love, better health, better performance? You choose what you want. And once you've decided on your identity, your purpose, and who you want to be, implement rules to stick to that identity. For example, you're never going to work on Sundays. You're never going to work 50 hours a week. You're only going to work with clients who align with your values and motivate you, not drain you of energy. These are rules you need to implement so you don't go back to your old ways and you don't get stuck in that burnout cycle. The next part of this phase is to rebuild your environment to make recovery the default. What do you need to stay energized, happy, and healthy? Make them non-negotiables so you bring yourself back when you start slipping into that chronically stressed state. When you start feeling yourself getting burnt out and getting super stressed out, you need to go back to these recovery protocols and you need to just implement them into your routine so you're always doing them and your state of being will always be towards recovery and you're never going to get back into that brutal burnout cycle. So what are they? What are the things that keep you energized, happy, and healthy? Do you need to visit your hometown once a month? Do you need to live with your loved ones to keep you motivated? Do you need to spend more time on your favorite hobbies and, play basketball or collect cards a couple times a week? Do you need to see friends a couple times a week and go on dinners or go on trips with friends? What do you need to keep you happy, healthy, and energized? Reflect on this and fucking make the change. If you need to move from the city to the ocean because that's going to keep you more happy, healthy, and energized, then do it. If you need to schedule time to see friends a couple times a week, then do it. Make those changes, or else again, you're going to be stuck in this burnout cycle and it's going to be way more pain and cause way more problems than you not taking the necessary steps to keep you happy, healthy, and energized. Okay, now I want to give you a real life example of how to escape the burnout cycle and implement each of these phases. So this is you're burnt out, life is not fun. Firstly, we have phase 1. This is going to take 2 to 4 weeks. And it really is going to depend on how severe your burnout is and how fast you recover from burnout. So step 1, we want to complete that stress cycle. You're going to want to walk for 60 minutes daily. Have dinner with friends, hang out with your family, learn to make music. Anything that helps you complete the stress cycle, you're going to be wanting to do on a daily basis. Step 2, remove the chronic stressors. Remove the things that are keeping you stuck in survival mode and causing your burnout. If you have toxic clients burning or draining your energy, fire them. If you are not giving yourself enough time to sleep every night, give yourself 8 hours of sleep every single night. If you're working too much, don't work Sundays. Eliminate those chronic stressors that are keeping you stuck in that survival mode. Next phase is phase 2, rebuild, 2 to 3 weeks long. Again, going to depend on you. First step is to rebuild your motivation. Eat without your phone. Go on walks without music. Drink every other weekend. Rebuild these dopamine pools. And this doesn't have to be forever, but if you can randomize when you get dopamine, then you are going to have more motivation in the long run, and you're going to be able to utilize those dopamine stacking activities as tools to keep you motivated. Next step, you want to climb the ladder. You want to slowly wake up your nervous system again. Remember, we have to go from shutdown mode to survival mode to recovery mode. You can't just go from shutdown mode to recovery mode. You have to gradually increase, and you have to take your time. If you go too fast, then you're going to go back into that burnout cycle, and it's going to fucking suck. So start with 1 hour of deep work daily. Then start doing a light weightlifting session a couple times a week. And then increase both gradually each week. So the next week you might do 2 hours of deep work, and you might do a little harder of a weightlifting session. Slowly get back into it. Do not rush this process. Next phase, we have phase 3, redefine. This is 4 to 8 weeks. This can take quite some time because you're redefining yourself and rebuilding your environment. But again, these are just estimates. It's really going to depend on you. So next step is to change your identity. Reflect on your purpose, yourself, and what you want to do. If you want to, start an e-com brand on the side. If that is really what you want to do and you figured out this is not a symptom of burnout, this is actually a cause, I need to be doing something new, then fucking do it. Only work with clients who align with you. Don't work with those toxic clients that drain your energy. Only work with clients who align with your values. Step 6, rebuild your environment. Rebuild an environment to support recovery, not drain you of energy and make you stressed. Play basketball twice a week. Move closer to the ocean. Schedule that monthly trip with your friends or family. Do whatever it takes to keep you happy, healthy, and energized. And if you implement each of these steps, and I know it will take some time. It could take 2 months to 4 months. It could take a month. It could take a couple weeks. It depends on how bad your burnout is. But eventually, you will be energized, happy, and healthy, and you will fucking celebrate. And you're going to kill your work. You're going to be happy in life, and life will be good. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them below. And if you like more personalized support working with me one-on-one on your health, then check the first link in the description to learn more. Thank you guys again, and have a great rest of your day.